So eager to make a tutorial on two topics within Gmail that has been requested by multiple people. One is labels and one is filters. And labels are basically what Gmail calls folders. It's a way to organize your mail. And then filters are kind of the behind the scenes commands you're giving your email account, so when email arrives it knows what to do with it. So if you don't have any filters, all of your email just shows up, right into your inbox. And maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want to control it. So the two things to focus on here are labels and filters. So I go up to settings and let's create two labels first. So again, I have lots of access to things kind of behind the scenes in settings. So within labels, I have the pre-given labels that come with the email account, and then I have all the labels that I've created. I have stuff I label for my class, a label for anything I find online, so crowd of quizzes. So for this purposes of this video, let's create two new labels because we're going to create two different filters. So I'm going to make a label called the administration, like Proctor's administration, and I don't want it to nest under anybody. Nesting would be like having a subcategory. I want it to be its own category. So there it is. And we'll create another label, and let's call this one official notes. Oops. Again, no nest, just make it its own. So there they are. And then I'm going to want to filter messages into these two accounts. I already have one up here, so I'm just going to delete it so we can see it clean. So create a filter. So once I have those labels set up, I can tell my computer now, tell my email account what I want to do with it. So when I press create a filter, I have many options with which to filter email, both email that I have and email that's coming in. So I can filter it from a particular person. This is probably the most common way. I could filter emails that I'm sending out, so it puts it in a folder. The subject line, so if it has an email at the subject line, with one of your advisees' names, doesn't have the words. I mean, there's lots of ways. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm just going to put in some administration folks. Let's get Duggo, get Mike, and that's good for now. And then right now what this filter says is anytime I get an email from these three people all at the same time, like one email that's from the three of them, which is not common, right? It usually comes from one person. So I have to tell my email account, to tell this filter that really it needs to be or. So from Carl or Duggo or Mike. Notice the spaces here, which help it just keep it controlled, right? So anytime I get one from any of them, right? So maybe if you're like a department head, you could have, the emails of all the people in your department, and that could be put in a folder automatically if you want it, or your advisees or something. There's lots of ways to utilize this. So I say create filter with this search. And you can already see in the background here, it's gone and looked for emails in my current system that fit the criteria. So, and now it's saying, okay, you've identified these guys that you want to do something with them. Now, what do you want to do with them? We filter these messages out. Now, where do they go? And this is where the label comes in. So I would say, anytime I get an email from them, I want you to star it, and I want you to put it in the administration label. Now, again, starring it, I'm just saying that. It doesn't have to be starred. It could just be put in a folder. Or I could say, you know what, skip the inbox, because I don't ever want to read it, just kidding, and then archive it. So if something's archived, it means it doesn't show up in your inbox as unread. It still is unread, but it doesn't contribute to your account, right? So this is another side note, but if you have a lot of unread messages in your inbox, you can go in and create a filter for anything and then just say skip the inbox, and it'll search them all for you, and it'll send it there and take them out of your inbox. But that's an aside. So let's just create this filter. And I say, yeah, apply to the different conversations. Perfect. Create the filter. It's got to think for a second. Okay, there's my filter. I can go in at any point and edit it. And you can see over here I have that label, and all of those emails are in there. So there's some from Carl and from Mike, and there's not many from Duggo, I guess. But you can see up here I have 42 messages that are all showing here. So once that's done, that's kind of like the cold call, right? Like if you were just to create a filter, you go in, you kind of know what you want to do, you create a cold call that way. Another way, and we did that by, just to review, by going to settings, going up to filters, and just creating a filter and kind of putting in what we want, defining the categories. Now, the second way to do it, and maybe the more common way, is to, if you see an email, like this is an email from the notification systems that are for the NTAs or official notes, if you see something in your inbox that you want to filter, you just highlight it like this, and then you say, okay, more, and I say, I want you to filter messages like these, right? And then it'll go in and it automatically grabs that email account and it says, okay, cool, I know anytime I get messages from this, and this is the standard email account that comes from all official notes. So this will filter all my official notes that are in my inbox, which for many of us will be a lot. And I say, yeah, create a filter with this search, and yep, apply it. And what do I want to do with this? I want to skip the inbox because I don't want it to clutter up my inbox count, and I want to apply the label official notes to it. So this way, when I say create the filter, I don't lose the official notes. They don't show up in my inbox as unread, but they do show up under this folder right here. You can see that I did this in the past with what I called NTAs. So these are unread, but they're unread here, but they're not unread up here, if that makes any sense. Anyway, so that would be a way to take all those official notes that come in, stream in, and maybe you don't want to read them all, you don't want to have them all in your way, but you do want to know where they all are. This is a way to organize them. So create filter, and now you can see once that filter is created, it'll take a second to do that. There it is, filter was created, dumps me back in my regular inbox, and I can go now into my official notes, and there they all are, right? And obviously some of these aren't as pertinent, right? This is all kind of last year, and this is this current year. But one way to organize yourself really well. So that's labels, and that's the two kinds of filters. Filters where you go in kind of cold, and you create your own filter, like this, create a new filter. And the second way, just to review, is if you come across an email that you want to filter, like say I wanted to filter messages from John, because we're both working on JP2 together, you kind of highlight it, and then you say more, and then you go to filter messages like this, and then every time all these emails I have from John that John's involved in, there it is, he's all set. So that's it.